Hey friends, hope you guys are doing well. This is Mixed Media Project number 2. This is the front cover that I attached it to. I'm going to go back and redo that, but this is the first page that we did. And now we're going to do the back side of this page. And I'm using a watercolor journal that I just got from Hobby Lobby. It's got perforated edges in it. Not that I would ever tear it out, but in case that I did, I could. So I'm just going to put down a piece of old chipboard here underneath the page. It is watercolor paper, and I did use gesso on the front page, so hopefully it won't link through too bad or go through too bad. But I'm just going to start with a coat of acrylic gesso on this page, and that's to help keep it from going through on the next page. Again, like I said, it shouldn't be too bad because I gessoed the other page. So now I'm just going to put down this coat of gesso and then I'm going to dry it. I love doing mixed media projects because to me it's sort of mindless work. I can put the TV on and just kind of relax while I'm doing it. I usually pick up things that I have around my desk that are from older projects or are something that I wanted to use and I pulled it out and never got around to it. And so these kind of projects are really my kind of thing. This is a piece of tissue paper that I had pulled out for something else and never did use it. And so I decided that I wanted to use it on this project. I like to give my mixed media some texture and different backgrounds. And so this was something that I had wanted to use. And again, when I start with my projects, I don't really think about it. I just put things down. It was hard for me at first because I am an exact person in some ways, but in a lot of other ways I'm not. And so when I first started doing them, I was very critical of my work. But as you go along, you won't be critical because you realize later on you can always come back to a project. If you don't love it, you can set it aside and come back to it with a different perspective. So I'm just using regular school glue. I just laid it down with a paintbrush and then put the tissue paper down. I crumpled it up before, and I'm just going back to make sure to get those edges laid down really good on the page. So now I'm going to use some of this Tim Holtz waterproof ink, and I'm just taking the ink pad and going over the crinkles on this page that I made from whenever I wadded it up. And I recently discovered these oil pastels. I bought them at a discount store. It's called Ollie's. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of that. If you're from where I am in North Carolina or the southern part, Western North Carolina is where I'm from. They have these discount stores called Ollie's, and I picked them up in there, and I just discovered them. I've never used oil pastels before, but I did not know originally, and I tried to use them on the first page of this project, and I didn't know if they were water-based or whatever, but basically you put them on there and then you smudge them. No water needed. So I love these crayons. I have used them in several things that I've done and smudged things out, and I've really, really enjoyed them. So here I am just filling in those circles. Now, if you are Generation X person, you'll know what I'm talking about here. My grandmother always had a plastic lace vinyl tablecloth on her table. And I recently found one of these at a Rose's. Again, I don't know if Rose's is everywhere, but anyway, I had recently come across one in Rose's and it reminded me of her, and it's looks like lace, but it's not. It's vinyl, but it's lace cut and it's very, very pretty. And so here I just cut a piece off, and this is the first time that I've tried it, but I'm going to put some glue on it and try to adhere it to this page. And I know that at some point it will adhere because, again, it would get so hot in the summertime that that these things would adhere to the wood table. You would have to, whenever you peeled it off to wipe the table below, it would, it was vinyl. It would, to pull up off the table. So I'm just laying glue down here And I'm going to take my heat gun and try to dry it to the page. I've never done this before with this lace tablecloth. It's very beautiful, but again, it's vinyl. But it stuck to the page, and I'm very, very happy with it. I will use this in several projects, but so I'm just going back and adding some more school glue around those edges because, again, I want to make sure it's really adhered down nicely to the page, but it did really well. I'm very happy that I used it in the project. And you can see it looks really good here. So now I'm just going to take some Distressed Oxide Spray. It says Tim Holtz. I think this is like some kind of grass green or something. Anyway, I have all of mine next to my desk. I just picked one up. I didn't really look at the color, and it wound up being a green color. And now I'm just taking some water on my paintbrush and using it to kind of diffuse that color a little bit all over the page. And now I'm using some alcohol spray, and you can go back and look in some of my other videos. I realize that it's not, people ask me why am I using alcohol spray with that. It's not that it does anything different, it just disperses it different, and I'll try to link that video here where I discovered that. But I'm just using some alcohol inks and some distressed sprays, again, just picking up different colors and using water from my paintbrush to go in there and move it around. And I'm using some alcohol spray. It's rubbing alcohol in a spray bottle. And again, it just disperses it different, makes it dry different. And so I dried that up. And now I'm just going to go back in with some gesso on my finger and just soften up some of those places that I think were a little too dark, and just kind of go in there and soften that up. And now I've dried this page and I've let it dry, and I'm coming back to it again. Again, you can do that with a fresh mind. You can always set something aside, let it dry overnight or a couple of days, and come back to it. So that's what I did here. I let it dry overnight, and I came back to it the next day. And I've decided for 2025 that I'm going to put a heart on all of my projects to remind myself to love others and to love myself better. And so that's what I'm doing here. I had some burlap that I had gotten from the Dollar Tree years ago. It was like a little dollar roll of blue burlap, and I had pulled it out to use for something else, and I love the color, so I just thought I would cut a heart out of it. And so now I'm just going to glue that down with school glue. And I do this a lot. I will put glue on the outline edge of whatever I'm outlining, so I kind of know where to put the glue on the page or spread it out onto the page instead of just guessing. And then sometimes I just put a blob of glue down and hope for the best. But this particular time I did outline it. That's what you saw me doing there. And now I'm just tacking it down with my paintbrush. And I'm going to take these oil pastel crayons again, and I'm just going to outline this heart with that oil pastel crayon just to kind of give it, make it look like it's popping off the page there. And I'm just smudging that with my finger, which is what you do with oil pastels. I did not know that, but now I do. You can kind of see it. So now I'm going to take these fine liner pens. I got this pack from the Hobby Lobby. They were on sale. They're like Master's Touch or something. And they came in a pack of 3, and they're fine liners. And so now I'm just going back in and around that lace vinyl tablecloth section where the lace part was. I'd put some gesso down over top of that just to kind of make it stand out. And I'm just going in and filling in the outline of those holes with that fine liner tip just to kind of make them stand out a little bit better on the page. And you can kind of see that. The camera cut out, but I took some tea dyed some tea bags that I keep left over, and I put it on the side of that page, just glued it down with some gesso. But you can see the heart here and where I outlined it. That's the previous page that we did the first time. But I put the tea bag there on the edge of the paper just to fill in. And now I'm taking some jelly. I use this jelly print. I don't know if that's what you call it. A gel plate that you paint on. I did this piece of paper with that. And so now I'm going to tear out a little piece of paper. I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and sew around the edges in ink, and then put the date of the page on here, which you can see there, the camera cut out there. But I hope this inspires you to do some mixed media pages and get creative. And I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you the next time. Have a good week.